DeAtra, Lichvod, Haham, Rabbi Assayag, Chief Rabbi of Ontario, Rabbi Chabusha, all the Rabbanim, and all of the friends over here. We see many familiar faces already. I just first want to express my personal hakarat hatov to the community for welcoming my family into Toronto in such a beautiful way, as well as the unbelievable reaction from the community already coming to the Kollel. Unbelievable every single night. The Bet Midrash is packed and there's a lot of action. And this is really a big zechut for the community that they support be'achdut, it all together, all of the activities that the Kollel should be able to teach. And we're over here for the community at large, whatever they need. And we thank all our benefactors and all of those who really make the Kollel able to happen. So that I first want to express my hakarat hatov to everyone. And it's my second time being over here in Magen David. I feel right at home. I have to tell you, I feel right at home. Right away when I walk into Magen David, I think about our rich Moroccan tradition, and I think about some of the qualities that we have. And it reminds me of a certain Monsieur Bouzaglo, Mr. Bouzaglo. I'll tell you about him in Morocco. He had many boys. He had many boys, Mr. Bouzaglo. And he went into the hospital and to see that he heard that his wife was supposed to give birth. So he walks in and he says, hello, did my wife give birth yet? He said, Mr. Bouzaglo, Mazal Tov, you had a girl. He said, a girl? What's that, a girl? We only have boys by the Bouzaglo. What is this? He says, what? We have a girl, Baruch Hashem, you know, Mazal Tov. He said, I want to speak to the doctor. By us, we have the boys, only that, and that's it. Hey, his friend Haim is there. Relax. Well, no, we have boys only. He starts throwing the chairs. He says, I want to speak to the doctor. Doctor comes out. He says, what's going on? He says, I don't know what's going on. They tell me we have a girl and it was just really a boy. He says, no, I gave birth to the I was the doctor there. It was really a boy. He says, you see, Haim, if you don't make a case and complain about, you get nothing. The Baruch Hashem, the quality by us Moroccans, when we are actually we go for it to the matter. But that's just to start off. That's just to start off in Baruch Hashem in the joyous mode. But really, the shirot and bakashot that we have is another beautiful quality that we have as in the community and as the tradition by all of Am Yisrael. And we have to try to understand. We have to try to understand. What is it in particular about shirot v'tishbahot that we've spent nights of Leil Shabbat, wake up in the middle of the night singing to Kadoch Baruch Hu? The Gaon Mivilna said that through shirah, through song, we nullify the Yetzer Hara. We get rid of the Yetzer Hara. You know, in our spiritual body, we have really 5 levels. Nefesh, Ruach, Neshama, Haya, Yehida. I'm not gonna get into all the different categories, but Yehida is the highest of them all that we could reach. Yehida is that we're one with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Yahid. What does being one with HaKadosh Baruch Hu mean? That there's no doubts. Everything is clear. Yehida comes through Shirah. It comes through song. Where did we learn the first place where Bnei Israel really elevated themselves to song? Where? By Shirat Hayam. Az Yashir Moshe Bnei Israel. The great Hacham, Rav Yitzchak Isaac Haber, explains the following. That when Bnei Israel traveled through the Kriyat Yamsuf and they saw what they saw, their emunah was so barur, was so clear, they had no more doubts. Their emunah was clear. Az, Zayin in the Az is the 7 days that always connect us only to the nature, but the Aleph is arising us above, that we see the oneness of Hashem, and then we get to Ayashir. We rise above the nature. Because, Rabotai, when we involve ourselves in Shirah, nothing else matters. There is a great Hacham Rosh Yeshiva in Marrakesh, Rabbi Amram, he writes in the Haskamat of the Shirah Yedidot, the original one that came out, is that there were people that had no, that have no they were struggling for their daily living in Morocco. They were struggling for their daily, but when they would come to the Shirot and Bakashot, nothing else existed. We think that we have advanced so much, but because of all of our technological distractions, we're so busy. We have insurances and we have mortgages and everything. We're not able to just connect to Hashem. It was so much simpler. It used to be so much simpler. The connecting to Hashem was done in such a more simple way that our emunah was so much greater, and that would bring us to the shirot. Emunah, when we recognize the oneness of Hashem, it brings us to the shirot. Why? Because shira, we live the moment. What happened, we don't think about. And that just causes that's gone. That doesn't bring us to simcha. What happened is not there right now. What's going to happen, we also don't know. The only way to proper have simcha is to live the moment, to rise above time. And that's what shira is able to do. Shira is able to put us in a situation that we rise above time, that we are able to disconnect from everything else and just elevate our souls. That is the power of shirot utishbachot. I don't have to tell you the amazing emunah that all of our grandparents and great-grandparents had, much greater than, for sure, myself. I can't speak about others in the room, but much greater than myself. We have to try to understand, why is the emunah of my grandmother, why does it surpass so much those who it could be? It could be, I don't know, but it could be I'm a little bit more knowledgeable than my grandmother, but I didn't go to see, I didn't see her going outside taking all the gemarot and learning or whatever, maybe when I was sleeping. I didn't see it. But nevertheless, in emunah, my grandmother was much higher than my generation, and me included. How could that be? The answer is that the emunah by our grandparents wasn't a concept. It was real. I think we mentioned this before. It wasn't a concept, it was real. And that's the emunah that we had in Morocco, and that's the tradition that we had. The tradition that we had was that everything was real. Let me tell you a story that I learned in an Ashkenazi yeshiva. It's called the Telz Yeshiva. Needless to say, I was the minority. I was the only Sephardi there. So I had a book with me in English on the stories of Rabbi Chaim Pinto, Zecher Tzadik Livracha. And I made the big mistake of leaving it in the dormitory and leaving it over there. And I have a roommate who comes to me and says, "What is this? What's all these stories? You really think they could happen? You really think it's this?" I told him, "What's so hard to understand?" He says, "What, just miracles just like that?" Let me explain to you. We had many miracles that used to happen in Morocco. And it's no wonder that they used to happen. Why don't we see miracle nowadays? Because our emunah is so far off that our level of bihira, our level of judgment, if Hashem would show us a miracle, it would make everything haywire. We wouldn't, okay, we see it right away, we have to do it. In those days, in the days where our grandparents, they were living the emunah as a tangible thing, Hashem didn't have to have any problem of changing the nature, wouldn't change their bechira. It was so clear to them anyways, that even nature was like miracles. That's how it used to happen. Rabotai, and when we look at our Hachamim that we had previous generation, they were the greatest example of their tremendous emunah that they had. I had the privilege for years being able to pray Tisha B'Av with Rabbi Shalom Misas. Rabbi Shalom Misas was Amud HaTefilah. When he would get involved in the kinot and any shira, his mind and his whole being would be somewhere else. His tears, his dveikut HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He once mentioned that he had that once while he was praying Shmona Esrei, he got lost in the middle of Shmona Esrei, because when he said Baruch Atah Hashem Mehayeh Metim, all of a sudden he started thinking that when there's going to be Hayat HaMitim, the resurrection of the dead, he's going to meet his grandfather, the Sar Shalom, and his great-grandfather, and all of the great tzaddikim, he's going to meet them. And he got lost until the middle of Shmona Esrei, he didn't know where he was. By us, we get lost in the stock market in middle of Shmona Esrei. By Rabbi Shalom, it was because of the tefillah. It was because of the tefillah, Rabbi Shalom, that his pure neshama, Rabbi Assayag, to tell you, his unbelievable amud tefillah, that he was in his simple expression. He would sit in. Rabbi Bano from Montreal tells me that his father had a Bet Knesset in Casablanca where Rabbi Shalom would pray for years. He would sit in a corner with his feet with his feet across, and he would just sing all the Tishirot Tishbachot. He'd be in another world. He said it himself that there would be hardly a time where he would not every single word of tefillah he wouldn't concentrate on. How much we can't say that for ourselves, Rabotai. It's things that we have to get used to understanding that Shirot is just not a good time to listen to the Hazanim just and have a good time. It's something to tap into the energy of the tremendous power of that the Shirah gives us to disconnect from everything in the world just for those moments. And maybe we ask from each and every one of us, Rabotai, during these Shirot and Tishbachot, let's try to disconnect. Let's try to just think about being Meshabeach to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to reach that level of eventually saying there is no worries in the world. With that, Be'ezrat Hashem, we should be able to be zocheh, to go higher and higher in levels, and this should bring us to more and more Yirat Shamayim, to a level that we see only clear. V'ayah Hashem le'melech al kol ha'aretz b'yom ha'echad u'shmo echad.
We are on page 11. Page 11. Shalom leben dodi hatzalana ve'ha'adon. Shalom lecha ve'ha'adana kemorimo.